साधुवीरा त्वया पृष्टम् अवतारा कथां हरेः यत्त्वं पृच्छसि मर्त्यानां मृत्युपाशा विशातनिम्. Maitreya Vacha. Maitreya said, Sadhu, devotee, Veera, O warrior, Tvaya, by you, Prishtam, inquired, Avatara Katam, topics on the incarnation of the Lord, Harehe, of the personality of Godhead, Yat, that which, Tvam, your good self, Prichasi, asking me, Martyana, of those who are destined for death, Mrutyupasha, the chain of birth and death, Vishatanim, source of liberation. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. The great sage Maitreya said, O warrior, the inquiry made by you is just befitting a devotee because it concerns the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. He is the source of liberation from the chain of birth and death for all those who are otherwise destined to die. Please repeat the translation. The great sage Maitreya said, O warrior, the inquiry made by you is just befitting a devotee because it concerns the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. He is the source of liberation from the chain of birth and death for all those who are otherwise destined to die. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The great sage Maitreya addressed Vidura as a warrior not only because Vidura belonged to the Kuru family, but because he was anxious to hear about the chivalrous activities of the Lord in his incarnations of Varaha and Narasimha. Because the inquiries concerned the Lord, they were perfectly befitting a devotee. A devotee has no taste for hearing anything mundane. There are many topics of mundane warfare, but a devotee is not inclined to hear them. The topics of the warfare in which the Lord engages do not concern the war of death, but the war against the chain of Maya, which obliges one to accept repeated birth and death. In other words, one who takes delight in hearing the war topics of the Lord is relieved from the chains of birth and death. Foolish people are suspicious of Krishna's taking part in the battle of Kurukshetra, not knowing that he is taking part ensured liberation for all those who are present on the battlefield. It is said by Bhishma Deva that all those who are present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original spiritual existence after death. Therefore, hearing the war topics of the Lord is as good as any other devotional service. Presents the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in the last session we saw Vidura putting forward his question to Maitreya. in a requesting, humble manner. He wanted to know more about the Lord. He said he was not yet satisfied by hearing about the pastimes. In brief, he wanted an elaboration. So as a response to that inquiry, Maitreya is appreciating the question of Vidura. He said, Sadhu Veera Tvaya Prishtam. Oh my dear warrior Veera, Sadhuhu Tvaya Prishtam. The inquiry what you have made is befitting that of a devotee. Why? Avatara Katam Harehe. What was that inquiry about? It is about the pastimes of the Lord. Hare, various incarnations. Yatvam Prichasi Martyanam. So whatever you have inquired is very beneficial for Martyanam, or those who are destined to die. Mrityu Pasha Vishatanim. How it is beneficial? They will become liberated from this chain of birth and death. Mrityu Pasha Vishatanim. So it says, the great sage Maitreya said, O warrior Veera, the inquiry made by you, Tvaya Prishtam, is just befitting a devotee, Sadhuhu, because it concerns the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. Hare Avatara Kataha. He is the source of liberation from the chain of birth and death. Mrityu Pasha Vishatanim, for all those who are otherwise destined to die. Martyana. So in the purport also Prabhupada explains why Vidura is addressed as a Veera. One is, by default he was coming from a Kshatriya family. He belonged to a Kshatriya family of great warriors. And second thing is because he was very much interested in that chivalrous activities of the Lord. So he is addressed also as Veera. So how do we understand this perspective of inquiry and whom to inquire? Last session we understood about this. The qualification to inquire. The speaker should be qualified. The right time, right place, right circumstance. So in that last session also we saw how Vasudeva had inquired from Narada Muni. So after that inquiry, how Narada Muni responded to Vasudeva, because Vasudeva is not a normal man. He is father of Lord Krishna himself. But he had doubts about qualities of Lord Krishna. He wanted to know more about position of Lord Krishna. So sometimes paternal affection blinds us to the reality. They would not get to know the complete picture. And Narada Muni is celebrated as the greatest devotee. So he wanted to know about Lord Krishna from Narada Muni. So Narada Muni responded by saying, Shri Narada Vacha, Samyak etad vyavashitam bhavata sattva rushabha. So Samyak etad vyavashitam, whatever you have inquired from me, in the best of the Satvata dynasty, whatever you have correctly asked, that yat prichase bhagavatan dharmam svam vishwa bhavanam, about the eternal duty of the living entity towards the Supreme Lord. Bhagavata dharma. Because this is a specific question what asked by Vasudeva. What is the Bhagavata dharma? Because every living entity takes birth. Every living entity has a relationship with the Lord. So what is that specific duty he has to execute in relationship with the Lord? Bhagavata dharma. So that is the point it is said. It is Tvam Vishwa Bhavanam, because such devotion service to the Lord is so potent. Bhakti is so potent that its performance can purify the entire universe. Vishwa Bhavanam. It is the welfare activity. It is the most auspicious activity for the entire universe. That bhakti to the Lord is the beneficial activity for every living entity. Entire universe. And he further continued. Shruto anupatito dhyata adruto vanumoditaha sadhya punati saddharmo deva vishwa druhopihi. So saddharmaha, the principles of pure devotion service, what one practices, are so potent. Shrutaha, when you hear about that transcendental service, about bhakti, or anupatitaha, or you by chanting its glories in response, if somebody else is chanting, you follow it in response, or dhyayataha, if you meditate upon that bhakti principles, or adritaha, respectfully and faithfully accepting them, or va anumoditaha, or praising the devotion service of others. Even though I will not be able to do, others are doing better way, appreciating the service of subject that if you hear about it, if you recite about it, if you encourage others about it, or if you appreciate others about it, if you meditate upon that, anything connected with bhakti will immediately purify, even though that person may be of a sinful category. And further he says, Tvaya parama kalyanaha punya shravana kirtanaha smarito bhagavan adya devo narayano nama. He said, Tvaya smarito bhagavan adya. Today you have made me to remember my Lord. Bhagavan Narayana, the Supreme Lord Narayana. Devo Narayano Mama. He is my very dear Lord, not Narayana. Because it is Parama Kalyanaha. What is so special about the Lord? He is the most auspicious about the Lord, Parama Kalyanaha. And Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. Anyone who hears or chants about this Lord becomes completely pious. So when you associate with the Lord by hearing or by chanting, we become completely purified and we become completely pious. Evai Bhagavata prokta upayahi atma labdhaye anja pumsam avidusham vidhi Bhagavatan hitan. So anjaha pumsam avidushan. Even though a person is very ignorant about the Supreme Lord, one who is foolish personality or ignorant personality about the Supreme Lord, upayahi atma labdaye. If he engages the process prescribed by the Supreme Lord himself, then evai Bhagavata prokta, and the process recommended by the Lord. What is this process which is personally recommended by the Lord? Bhagavata prokta is known as Vidhi Bhagavatan hitan. You should know as Bhagavata Dharma. The process which is recommended by the Lord to engage in devotional service to the Lord himself is known as Bhagavata Dharma. So, the principle of Bhagavata Dharma is to engage in loving devotional service to the Lord in, what do you say, ahaituki apratihata. Means without any interruption, ahaituki, without any reason, apratihata, without any obstruction. Generally, we engage in devotional service as a means of business perspective. We remember the Lord only when we are in trouble or when we are in distress. So, in that perspective, what happens? We pray to the Lord, oh my dear Lord, please remove my distress, please remove my anxiety. But after we have been purified by the subject, we don't even think back the Lord and we acknowledge the Lord. We say, thank you, my dear Lord. Because of you, I am safe and secure. So it all becomes a business procto, or sometimes we go in front of the Lord, you say, oh my dear Lord, you give me 1 crore rupees, I'll give back 1 lakh rupees. This is like we do financial discussions with the Lord. Santalo Baran chesad, Baran chestam annamata. So, okay, Lord is also very appreciative. Okay, you are recognizing me, you are connecting to me, you are somehow surrendering to me. Lord is also very appreciative of this perspective. And sometimes one more thing is, we see devotees of very other Vishnu forms, so many, not devotees of Lord Krishna are very rare. And why it is very rare? Because if you come to Krishna and say, my dear Lord, please give me 1 lakh rupees, Lord will say, what you have first? You say, I have so much, so and so. If you say, Lord say, first you give me that, then I'll give you back. Krishna is such a clever person. We know Krishna is cunning personality. You go for something, he will take away whatever we have. He will make us pauper first. And this is what Bhagavatam says. Yasyaham arugranami harishye taddanam shanai. It is a special mercy upon a devotee if you feel harishye taddanam shanai. You steal away all his money, whatever he has. Tato dhanam tajanti asya. So when there is no money, his relatives will quit him. Swajana dukki dukkitam. And in that complete distress state, he becomes surrendered to you ultimately. So this is the special mercy of the Lord. If somebody is if they come to Krishna and if he is losing everything, means he is the recipient of special mercy of the Lord. And Prabhupada says, this happened actually in my life. At one particular point, Prabhupada's business was going such a successful manner. Prabhupada says he should have been one of Tatas and Birlas in 1940s. But suddenly, entire his business fell down. He came to such a situation that he was not even to pay back the situation, to pay back the payments. He had to quit his family life, he had to go to Vrindavan. Prabhupada says, this is a special mercy of Lord Krishna, so that I can execute the order of my spiritual master to preach this Krishna consciousness worldwide. So we have our plans, Lord has his plans. But since again we are devotee, we wanted to completely surrender to the Lord. Lord manages in such a way that we follow that primary intention of complete surrender. And after that Krishna gave him unlimited to Prabhupada. Prabhupada went with how much to America? 40 rupees. And that too Indian rupees in America, which is of no use. It's like $7. But in 11 years span, Prabhupada said, who is that businessman who is successful in the world? With 40 rupees he had made some 400 crores in 11 years. Show me one example, Prabhupada. Even if you go to Google and say the most influential people after 70 years. So they show Prabhupada as number 2. Before that they show somebody else. See, the people who generally after 70 years we think of retirement, sit in some corner, enjoy life. But these are the people who had changed the world after 70 years. So this right person to contact is the point what we are understanding in Bhagavatam. Whom do you inquire with? What do you inquire with? So similarly, there was one situation, Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is becoming the recipient to understand knowledge. So when he was in the South Indian travel, he came to Rajahmundry. He took bath in the Godavari river and he sat in a nearby a small garden-like area. And he was anticipating to meet Ramananda Raya. So in that context it says, Hena kale dolaya chadi Ramananda Raya snana karibare aila Bhajana Bhajaya. So at that time, Ramananda Raya, he is the governor of the Madras province. So he had come there in a palanquin with a group of people with celebrations and all to take bath. Tanra Sange Bahu Aila Vaidika Brahmana. So along with him, there were many Brahmanas who follow the Vedic principles. Vidyamate Kaila Tenho Snanadi Tarpana. So according to the regulations and rituals, he had taken bath, he had offered oblations into the water. Prabhu Tandra Deki Janila Ei Ramaraya Tanhare Milite Prabhura Mana Uti Dhaya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand. The person who has come is Ramananda Raya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi, he was sitting at a place, but his mind is running to go and meet Ramananda Raya immediately. Tatapi Dhairya Dari Prabhu Rahila Vasiya Ramananda Aila Apurva Sannyasi Dekya. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified himself, sat down, even though his mind is running, physically he sat down. So seeing a wonderful sannyasi, Ramananda Raya only came to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Surya Shatasama Kanti Aruna Vasana. So his bodily lustre was like 100 suns as brilliant as that. Aruna Vasana, and he is wearing a saffron garment. Shubhalita Prakanda Deha Kamala Lochana. His body is very large and very strongly built. And his eyes are like lotus petals. Dekiya Tanhar Mane Haila Chamatkara. He became very astonished seeing such a huge personality. Asiya Karila Dandavat Namaskara. He came forward and he paid obeisances. Uthi Prabhu Kahe, Uta Kaha Krishna Krishna, Tara Alangite Prabhu Hrudaya Satrushna. So the Lord stood up and asked Ramananda Raya, please get up and chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very eager to embrace him. Tatapi Puchila Tumi Ramananda Raya. Then he had asked, are you Ramananda Raya? Tenho Kahe, say Hana Dasa Shudra Manna. He said, yes, I am a very low servant of the Shudra family and my name is Ramananda Raya. Tabetara Kaila Prabhu Druda Alingana Premaveshe Prabhu Brutya Donhe Achetana. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tightly embraced him. Both the servant and the master became engrossed in ecstasy. They forgot about the whole world. Swabhavika Prema Donhara Udaya Karila Dunha Alingya Dunhe Bhumite Padila. So the eternal love of Godhead, that love of for each other awakened within both of them, and they fell down on the ground unconscious. Stamba Sveda Ashru Kampa Pulaka Vaivaranya Dunhara Muke Suni Gadgada Krishna Varna. They started exhibiting Asta Satvika Vikara, and their voice was faltering. They are not able to pronounce even Krishna's name properly. Dekiya Brahmana Ganera Haila Chamatkara Vaidika Brahmana Sabha Karena Vichara. All the Brahmanas who are not aware of this ecstatic love of Godhead, they were astonished and they started contemplating what might have happened. Eita Sannyasira Teja Deki Brahma Sama. They saw he is a gorgeous sannyasi and his bodily effulgence is like a great personality. Shudra Alingya Kene Karena Krandana. Why is he embracing a Shudra and he is crying? Ye Maharaja Maha Pandita Gambira Sannyasira Sparshe Matta Hoila Astira. And he is Ramananda Raya, who is he's a great personality. He is a king's representative here. He is a governor. But he is a Grambira. He is a very person of very gravity. So now he is acting like a madman by touching this sannyasi. What is happening to these two people? Eimata Vipragana Bhave Mane Mane Vijatiya Loke Deki Prabhu Kaila Samvarane. So when people were contemplating within their mind like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu restrained himself by seeing the external people. He restrained himself. Sustohana Dunhe Sei Stanete Vashila Tabe Hasi Mahaprabhu Kahite Lagila. So the both of them became exhausted. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat there. Then he started asking Ramananda Raya, Sarvam Bhattacharya Kahila Tomara Gune, Tomara Milite Mora Karila Yatane. So Sarvabhauma had glorified your qualities. So and he made me a great endeavor to convince me to meet you. Toma Milibare Mora Eta Agamana. I have come here specifically only to meet you. Bala Hoila Anayase Pailun Darshana. It is very easy that you have come here yourself. It would have been very difficult for me to search for you and identify you and meet you. Raya Kahe Sarvabhauma Kare Brutyak Jana. Ramananda Raya said, Sarvabhauma always treats me as his servant, dear servant. Paroksheha Mora Hite Hoya Savadana. He always contemplates about my welfare. Jai Shri Radha Govinda. Tandra Krupaya Painu Tomara Darshana. Jai. Aji Safala Hoila Mora Manushya Janma. So because of his mercy, I was able to have your interview here, and today I consider my human form of life as a successful. Sarvabhauma Tupara Krupa Tara E Chihna Asprushya Sparshile Hana Tandra Prema Adhina. I could see that you have bestowed your causeless mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Therefore, you have touched me. All day I am an untouchable. This is due to only to his love for you. Kahan to me Sakshat Ishvara Narayana. Wherever you are, whereas you are the Supreme Lord Narayana himself. Kahan Muni Rajasevi Vishayi Shudra Adama. Where I am a servant of the king, I am a Shudra, I am a person of sense gratification, and I am lowest of the mankind. Mora Sparshe Na Karile Grahana Veda Bhaya Mora Darshana Toma Vede Nishedaya. So you are not very fearful of Vedic injunctions that you should not associate with a Shudra. You are not contemptuous of my touch, although in the Vedas you are forbidden to associate with Shudras. Tomara Krupaya Tomaya Karaya Nindya Karma Shakshat Ishvara Tumi Ke Jane Tomara Marma. So because you are the Supreme Lord, nobody could understand what is your intentions of your mind. It is very difficult to expect what you are thinking. Ama Nistarite Tomar Ihara Agamana. So why did you come here? Your specific purpose is to liberate me. Parama Dayalu to me, Patita Pavana. You are the most auspicious personality, Parama Dayalu. And you are Patita Pavana, you are deliverer of the fallen. Mahanta Swabhava Ye Tarite Pamara, Nija Karya Nahi Tabu Yana Taragara. So it is the duty of a saintly person to deliver the people of fallen. Therefore, they go to the people's houses, although they have no personal business there. Amar Sange Brahmanadi Sahasreka Jana Tomara Darshane Sabara Dravi Bhutamana. So not only me, along with me, there are thousands of people here who had come, all these Brahmanas and all. They all have been purified by your association and by your touch, by your darshana. Krishna Krishna Nama Suni Sabara Vadane, Sabara Anga Pulakita Ashrunaine. By hearing the holy name of Lord Krishna, they all became ecstatic. Their body was, like their hair was standing in the end. They are all experiencing ecstasy. Akrutya prakritya tomara Ishwar Lakshana Jivana he Sambhava e Aprakrita Gana. By your bodily structure and by your characteristics, these are not of a common man. These are all the designs of the Supreme Lord, Prakanda Sharira. Tomara Darshane Prabhu kahe, Tumi Maha Bhagavatottama, Tomara Darshane Sabara Drava Hoilamana. Then Lord replied, no, you are the topmost devotee. Therefore, simply sight of you has melted everyone's heart. Anyera ki kata Ami Mayavada Sannyasi, Ami ha Tomara Sparshe, Krishna Prema Basi. I am actually a Mayavadi Sannyasi. By your touch, I became a great devotee of the Lord. Love of Godhead awakened within me. Ye jani katina mora hrudaya shodite, Sarvama kahilena tomara milite. So Sarvama knew this would happen, that to rectify my heart, which is very hard, he had asked me to meet you. Ye mata dunhe stuti kare dunhara guna, dunhara darshane anandita mana. In that way, both of them are praising each other and their minds became very peaceful and happy. Tomara muke Krishna Katha sunite hoyamana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I want to hear Krishna Katha from you. Punarapi pai ena tomara darshana. If you can come back again, once again, I would like to hear about Krishna Katha from you. Raya kahe, aila yadi pamara shodite, darshana matra shuddha nahe, mora dushta chitte. My dear Lord, you have come here not only to correct me, a fallen soul. My mind is not yet purified simply by seeing you. Dina pancha shata rahi karaha marjana. You stay here for 7-8 days and please completely purify my heart. Tabe shuddha hoya mora yehi dushtamana. Only then my mind will become purified. Yadyapi vicheda tonhara sahananayaya tatapi dandavat kari chalila ramaraya. So even though both of them could not tolerate separation from each other, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Raya separated so that they would meet some other time. See the context wise. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is also a Supreme Lord himself in the form of a devotee. But still, he is acting like a recipient and he wanted to ask inquiry from Ramananda Raya, who is the perfection of devotional service. So, Lord always wants to glorify his devotees. Lord always wants to give credit to his devotees so that the whole world can acknowledge and appreciate and engage in their footsteps. Lord is setting an example. So, similarly, sometimes great personalities also act to teach us. So, this is in a context in the Mahabharata where we see there is one description between Shalya and Karna. What is problem with Karna? Many times people quote, Karna is a great person, he is a more charitable person, and when he approached Dronacharya for teaching, Karna did not teach, Karna was denied education. Based on his birthright, being a Shudra, he was not entitled for education like that and all. They give some silly reasons they mention. But what Acharyas mention? Why Karna was denied education? Is it was based on birthright? Because in Vedic times, birthright was never into consideration. It is the qualification which is into consideration. It is the character which is taken into consideration. Karna is a person who has in the bloodline of the Kshatriya, but raised by a Shudra family. But his mentality is like a Shudra mentality. How? He wanted to exploit the situation for his purpose. He wanted to become a greater than a Vaishnava. He wanted to challenge Arjuna. He wanted to prove himself greater than a Vaishnava. This is one perspective. The second thing is, whenever he is an opportunist, he would like to explore or he would like to, exploit the situation. And whenever situation is not favorable, he will be the first one to run away from the battlefield. So, seeing his mentality only, Dronacharya had recommended, no, he is not worthy to be relied upon. Like 2 examples were there, where Karna ran away from the battlefield, the first one to run away from the battlefield. Karna would always stand behind Duryodhana and say, yes, you are a great warrior, I am there for you. We can conquer the whole world. So, Duryodhana also became puffed up. He thought, yes, this is an opportunity, I have best of the warrior, I can go and conquer the world. So, after Pandavas have lost their kingdom and all, they were in Dvaitavana. So, at that time, Duryodhana thought, yes, we should go and show off our opulences to Pandavas. So, they went with all their army, they went with all their opulences, they went to Dvaitavana, and there was one lake there. They wanted to have a camp in that lake area. But already some Gandharvas were there in that area, they were all enjoying there. The Gandharvas headed by Chitraratha. So out of arrogance and out of pride, Duryodhana went and said, you all vacate here. You insignificant people, you all vacate here. This place is meant for our pleasure. Gandharvas became angry. Are we are superior people to you. How you can come and command us? So fighting started. Duryodhana party versus Gandharvas. And Gandharvas are people with heavy, extraordinary capabilities. The first person to run away in the battlefield was Karna. And Duryodhana thought he is the person who is going to stand behind me and who is going to fight. We are going to defeat Gandharvas. The next moment he saw all the Kauravas were captured and they are all put into jail by Gandharvas. Only 1 or 2 people escaped from the situation. They went to Pandavas and they informed Yudhishthira Maharaj, my dear sir, please come and save. Our Kaurava entire army has been captured by Gandharvas. Then Bhima said, this is what should happen. They wanted to show off. No, they got show off. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj said, no, this is not the mentality. They are our brothers. When we are fighting with each other, we are 5 versus 100. But when it is with outside world, we are 105 versus 100. Outside world. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj sent Bhima and Arjuna to fight. So Bhima and Arjuna went. Both of them itself, they driven away the entire Gandharva army. At that time itself, Arjuna, by his fighting, had satisfied Chitraratha. And both of them became friends. Chitraratha taught Arjuna how to sing and dance, which will be helpful in his Brahannala Vesha. And Arjuna taught him how to fight so that he could also conquer next time any other situation. So this is one circumstances. The second circumstances was when Virata Parva, when Pandavas were in incognito, almost 1 year has happened. So Kauravas have identified where the Pandavas might be, so they came to attack Virata Raja. So Saindava Raja came in one direction and Kauravas came from the opposite direction. So they stole away all the cattle, cows of Virata. So at that time, Virata and were all engaging fight with Saindava Raja, other 4 brothers. Only Brahannala was left and Uttarakumara was left in the kingdom. So then Uttarakumara says, it is very easy for me, I'll drive away Kauravas and all. He was boasting among his sisters and all their lady girlfriends and all. And then they all said, yes, you are such a great warrior, you should go and you should prove to the whole world, you are the next in the line emperor. So he also went there. After seeing all the Kauravas army, then he started running away from the battlefield. So then Arjuna said, no, this is not the thing, you are not supposed to run away. So you have to fight. No, see their personalities, where I will fight. Then Arjuna said, do one thing, you drive the chariot, I will fight. He said, can you? You are neither male nor female. You are an enant. But Arjuna then showed him all their weapons and all. Then they took that Gandiva. Then Arjuna attacked the war. And the first one to run away from the battlefield was again Karna. So you see that nature, you see his mentality. He is such a egoistic person. When he was asked to fight in the Mahabharata war, he said, until Bhishma Deva is there on the battlefield, I will not step into the battlefield. Only after Bhishma died, I will come into battlefield. Such a foolish personality. Bhishma is such a great warrior. He was feeling egoistic. So that's why he was not taught about this Astra Shastra. So similarly, Shalya was also updating him about the situation about, he was preaching to Karna by the situation. He said, there was one wealthy family who was settled by the nearby ocean. So they performed various sacrifices and gave charity in generosity. So that family was very quiet, observant of the duties of their order, and they are pure in their habits and mind. So that person had many sons who are also pious and very kind to the other living entities. So in that area there was one Vaishya who was peaceful and anxiety, and there was a crow which used to come to that area, to their house. The children used to feed that crow with all the ingredients, what they are eating, luxurious food and all were provided. The crow was becoming day to day arrogant. He was thinking, I am such a great personality, see, everybody is serving me. So one day when they came near the ocean, the boys, when they came to take bath near the ocean, they saw some white swans, Rajahamsa, which had come from Manasa Sarovara. They came to this ocean and they were playing around near the ocean. So these swans are such a way that they can fly for long distances without any trouble. They travel huge distances and they are of huge capacity, their sizes and all. So jokingly they said to this crow, see, now for you an opportunity, the white swans have come. You should compete with them. You are no less than a great personality like the swans. Then crow started thinking, yes, I am Garuda among my crows. I am such a great personality. He went and challenged the swans. My dear swans, please listen to me. What do you think you are great personalities or what? I am a great person. I know different ways or different styles I can do. 101 dives in air. The swan said, no, we only know one thing. We know only straight for flying. We don't know these 101 divings. See, now you are all afraid of me. You don't know. I am such a great personality. I am next in Garuda, he says. The swans will laugh. He said, if you can't even fly one yojana, what to speak of Garuda? We fly hundreds of yojanas. Then crow said, what? Come, let us challenge. Let us cross this ocean. I'll show you how great I am. Then the swans were also laughing. Then one swan said, okay, let us see what you are capable of. So crow went to the air and he started making various dives, various moves. Like when you go to aero show, all the airplanes will be doing all the various shows and all. The crow is showing all the things. Then finally he's moving up, he's going straight, he's coming down, he's going above the water. Like every possible dive he is showing. But swan is doing only one flight. He's just flat, he's going over the ocean. So the crow was trying to reach the swan. At one particular point, the crow was much ahead of the swan. The swan was silent. It is initially very slow. But the moment he saw that crow is trying to become little thing, the swan, jet speed it started. And within a second, the swan is some kilometers ahead. So the crow was thinking how he started flapping much faster. But he's in the ocean. When he saw the situation, he became shocked. I am in the ocean. I am stuck up here. I don't have any opportunity to land also. If something happens, I'll be just drowning into the water. And there are many sharp animals and all which are very dangerous. They will just swallow me in a moment. And as soon as this fear came, he became lost of his energy. And he was just touching the water and trying to survive somehow above the water. Then when the swan saw that crow is almost like in the water, it's about to drown, then the swan came back. He said, what happened, sir? You said 101 dives. Where are you? What is happening to you? Is this something special? Can you teach me also how to be touching on the water and be always above the water also? Then the crow said, my dear sir, please forgive me. I thought I am very powerful and I challenged you. Now I am in a situation that I cannot even go 1 inch further. So please protect me. Please take me to the shelter. Please take me to the land. I understood what is my capacity. So like that, then crow feeling, when the crow was continuously be requesting the swan finally took pity on him. He was almost unconscious. Then swan lifted him, put him on his back and flew him back and brought him to the shore and wake him up, and they said, see, don't imitate others. The principle is, even though if you have qualifications, we should always be humble. The Vaishnava Acharyas teach us this principle. So Shalya told Karna, just as crow fed upon the remnants of the Vaishya children and became proud, and thus disrespected his equals and superiors, similarly living on the remnants of Duryodhana's and your Dhritarashtra's sons, you have become proud. Now you think fit yourself to fight with Krishna and Arjuna. Understand your capacity. You cannot compete with Krishna and Arjuna. So similarly, Bhaktivinoda Thakura sings, Garhita achare rohilama moji na karinu sadhu sanga loye sadhu vesha ane upadesha ye bado mayara ranga. So remaining absorbed in abominable activities, I never really kept company with sadhus. Now I adopt the dress of a sadhu and act out the role of instructing others. This is Maya's big joke. Even in Narada Purana it says, Ahankaro mahan jagje masuyo loba hetukaha. The pride is the destruction of all wealth, the source of false ego and all types of failure. So similarly in Vrajavilasa Stava, Raghunath Das Goswami also says, Pratishta Rajubir Baddam Kamader Vartma Pattibihi చిత్వాత సంహరంతస్తాన్ అఘారే పంతుత్ మాం బాతః. The highwaymen, which are lust, greed and anger, have captured me and bound me with the ropes of desire of fame. I pray the heroic devotees of Lord Krishna, the enemy of Aghasura, may defeat my capturers and cut the ropes that bind me. Like swan, like the Supreme Lord, only can protect me from these crow-like qualities. Even Sanatana Goswami advises about the benefits of humility by saying, ఏన అసాధన ఆసక్తాదమ బుద్ధి సదాత్మని సద్వోత్కర్షాన్వితే అపి స్యాత్ బుద్ధేశ్చ దైన్యం ఈష్యతే. Even if one is very exalted personality, he should be humble and think himself very incompetent and lowly. యయా వాచే హయా దైన్యం మత్యా చ స్థైర్యం ఏతి తత్ తాం యత్నేన భజన్ విద్యాంస్ తద్ విరుద్ధాని విరాజయత్. A wise man should try to be humble in his words, deeds and thoughts. He should shun whatever is opposed to humility. దైన్యంతు పరమాం ప్రేమ్నా పరిపాకేన జాన్యతే తాసాం గోకుల నారీనాం ఇవా కృష్ణ వియోగతః. Humbleness comes from advancement in love for Lord Krishna, as is seen in the example of the women of Gokula when they were separated from Lord Krishna. పరిపాకేన ధైన్యస్య ప్రేమ అజర్షం వితన్యతే పరస్పరం తయోరిత్తం కార్యకారణేతిక్షతే. Mature humbleness brings love for Lord Krishna. It is seen that two are in a relationship of cause and effect. So if you want to get love of Godhead, we should be humble enough. So even Bible says the doors of heaven are open for those who are humble and meek. So for a Vaishnava, the basic principle for advancement in spiritual life is humility. In the 20 items of knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, the first one to start was amanitvam, humility. So when Lord has been bestowed us with qualities, we should not become proud, we should be humbler enough. A tree with most number of fruits, will it be standing erect or it will be bending? So bending is a humility principle. So a tree with all the good qualities will always be bending. A devotee with all the good qualities will always be humble enough in his spiritual life. So I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? Grandhara Srimad Srila Prabhupada.
హరే గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణవాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి